All right, guys, welcome to another episode of the Don't Tempt Me podcast.
Yes, we are back.
We're really excited for this one.
Yeah.
Yes, we're really excited. This is kind of a spur of the moment one, but we wanted to kind of go a different direction.
Basically, we're talking about sex today.
Yeah, if we're gonna be straight up about it, we're talking about sex, baby. So
Yes.
we talk about some more serious things, and then we also talk about serious things that are a little more on the sexual side and that people don't talk about.
In my opinion, sex is a very important and one of my favorite topics in talking about relationships because of how much of an importance I do place on it.
Yeah.
So, it's go time.
So the topic for today is going to be, what do girls need and want in bed? And also, like, what they're too scared to ask for.
Yeah. Which I feel like is a very, very common thing.
Yeah. Yes. I didn't realize how common it was, but it is very, very common. The more I talk to people, the more experienced, like, it is a very common thing. And you want to start with what girls want? I think it's...
Yeah,
I think there's, like, a general... Obviously, sometimes it's specific to certain individuals, but I think generally you can get the idea of, like, what girls want and need in bed.
definitely. And you need to talk to your partner because that's true. You have the general, like, this is what I like, this is what I need in terms of how to please a girl in bed and how to keep them kind of in the relationship, basically.
Yeah.
Because it's such a big part, and in my opinion, it is the line between what makes a friendship and what makes a relationship. So it's like having that aspect is so important. And people do need to speak up. And when you talk to your partner and have those conversations, it's those little things that need to be tweaked, but like overall, same message.
So the key thing here is you have to talk about it. And and I think the struggle is like how to approach it, how to talk about it. Because, that can be a little bit of...
Well, you think you're hurting the guy's ego, or you think you're going to like be too, one, you're being too vulnerable, or two, you're going to hurt someone's feelings.
Yeah, or it's just uncomfortable for
not,
you or the other person. So there's a lot of aspects, I think, to why people don't really know how to have the conversation. But if you care about this person and you want to keep this person in your life, I think it's really important to talk about it. It's very, very important. And I think you also need to remember, as girls and guys, that if you want to keep the other person around, ask questions. You have to ask questions. And there's also, I think, a time frame to where people are gonna... to where you should be asking, because after a certain time, if you're not addressing what the other person wants and you're not giving girls what they want, or giving... I mean, I think it's a little easier to give guys what they want, but if girls aren't getting what they need and a certain time frame passes, it's kind of a little too late.
Yeah, well, it's like, the sad truth is your interests kind of fade, and I've been put in much more situations where the chemistry is there right off the bat, but I do think it's possible to grow that, and that's where communication is even more so key if you're trying to build on a situation where you guys don't line up in bed right away, because that's kind of normal. So it's like very lucky to have someone where you're right off the bat, first time, passion's flying, chemistry's there, which, I mean, in my case too, I feel like the relationships that stand out and are most prominent are the ones where I've had that chemistry right away. But I've also had a lot of relationships that have meant something to me, where it's that build, where I had to say, yo, listen, this is what I want.
Well, like, here's the thing is that I think intimacy and sex, that'll definitely help keep the person there. So let's say you have this dream guy, right? And he has everything that you want. Everything is going right, but the sex and the chemistry, that part's lacking. So that's a problem. But let's say you have a guy and the intimacy is there, the sex is there, the chemistry is there, you're probably going to be staying with that guy maybe a little longer, but obviously when the other factors don't come in, like he doesn't communicate or he doesn't give you all the other aspects that you like, eventually you're gonna like realize that and you're gonna dip as well. But you need all of it basically.
Yeah,
but
your personality can't suck and you can't
mismatch
in bed. Yeah, basically those two things need to be there. And I found too, the difference is sex can be very controlling, and you can find yourself feeling out of control when all of the other aspects of the relationship don't align and the sex is amazing.
Yeah, so basically sex, if you're out there and you're a guy and you're listening up, or you're a girl and you want your guy to hear this, go ahead and send that to them. But basically, as a guy, if you want to keep a girl, you want a girl to be crazy about you, you want a girl to just be head over heels or just like be all about you, and if you want to go the toxic route as well, have control over a girl, I'm just gonna say it, you need to make them come. You need to please them. You need to know how to please your girl or the girl that you want these things with. You must know that. And the way to know that is by asking or doing different things or speaking up.
Well, and if you're uncertain if you are pleasing them in the correct way and you're like, oh, like, I'm finished, what about her? Say something.
Yeah.
If it's not embarrassing and she's in bed with you for a reason.
Yeah.
So then take that and run with it. And I think we appreciate conversation a good amount. It shows maturity, and it shows like the ability to communicate and show that you're willing to learn. You're willing to try new things. That's like the fun of what creates those moments where so many people, especially myself too, it's a very visual thing that happens, and it'll leave her thinking and playing it back during the day when she's supposed to be working. And that is what keeps the chemistry there. That's what keeps the chemistry there when you're not even having sex. That's what keeps the chemistry there when you're sitting next to them, when you're in the same room, when you're cuddling with them. That level of like intimacy that has played out in the exact correct way.
Yeah, unfortunately, and it sucks to say, but it's the truth. If you're not satisfying your girl, or even vice versa, if you're not satisfying your man, they're going to look for satisfaction. They're going to look for it in other ways or from someone else. Everybody wants to be satisfied. Everyone wants their needs to be met. So the only way to do that is to either try new things and see what the response or reaction is, or just ask questions or have that open communication. So you need to be doing that. But let's hit on what girls need and want in bed. What do girls need and want in bed?
I think we do need to address the fact that males are males for a reason and females are females for a reason. And it's like there's that level that needs to play in where I think a good majority of us, it's that sense of you need the back and forth, and there is an aspect of us definitely that wants to be able to take control. We want to feel sexy. We want to feel like we know what we're doing. We want to feel confident, all of that stuff. But in return, we want the guy to tell us what to do.
Be dominant.
And
be
move
a man.
us around and change positions.
Boss us around. Like, take the lead for the most part. I think generally what women like is for a guy to take control, to just be able to throw a girl around. So
I think that's a pretty standard thing.
Yeah, I think it's standard. Yeah, of course there's that little bit of back and forth. Like, we want to feel like we have moments where we can be a little bit dominant, control a little bit, but fight it a little bit too, and then just let them know, like, no, I got this. Like, this is my role.
And I think too, it comes in more of like the little things for us. Like, okay, we're gonna wear lingerie and we're gonna plan this date, but then it's like taking the lead as a guy does do something for us. And for me, and I think I can speak for a lot of females too, it's like the foreplay and the build up and the sensual act of kissing up and down the body or like the lead into even a sexual act in general is
foreplay.
Very, and the teasing.
Yes.
Teasing.
All right, let's not get too excited.
It's very important. Bottom line.
All right, okay, so that goes
Is it hot in here?
Yeah, I'm actually getting a little hot. We should turn on the air conditioning before this a little bit. No, but like that's part. Listen up. If you're a guy, and if you're a girl, send this to your guys, like I said, but that's part of what girls want and need, okay? Again, this is the standard. This is general speaking here, but girls want a good build-up. It takes us a little longer to get there, and we want to be built up before we even start, okay? So like she said, the foreplay, the teasing, the tension, like teasing so important, the kissing up and down the body, kind of like playing around a little bit.
Yeah.
And then after and again, you need to communicate with your partner. Ask them what they like, like ask them, what would be the perfect, if you were to describe
That's
the
a very
perfect
good thing to
scenario of like foreplay. What would that look like? Okay, these aren't weird questions to ask. Like if you're gonna have sex, you should be able to ask these questions.
Right.
And like even if it is uncomfortable, you get past that stage by asking and getting an answer, then you get even closer. That's the next level of like intimacy, to where like now I'm learning more. And it's like something else that a lot of people actually do that may seem weird if you haven't done this before.
Right.
But ask the other person to please themselves and watch how they do it. That's literally the number one way to learn how the other person works, or vice versa as well. But also, another thing that girls really want and need in bed, which goes along with what we were saying before, is a girl does want to feel confident and sexy. And if it is something that's a little new, even if they do feel confident and sexy in general, because you're a new partner, make them feel confident and sexy.
Right.
Like say things to make them feel that way. If they like maybe are a little come off a little shy or like scared to do something, just be like, I don't care. Just be like show them and speak words, say phrases that make them feel sexy, and like what you're doing is just like comfortable. Like you don't care if she's scared of this or insecure about that. It's just like,
well, believe me, you'll be happy you said something.
Yeah, it's like just make them feel very comfortable. Yeah, like there are some girls that maybe think that, receiving head is a little more intimate, and they're not always comfortable with letting all guys do that. But it's something to be like, if you were to say, oh, I really just want to please you, I really want to give you head, like I really like, I want to.
What guy isn't gonna like that?
Yeah, but like no, vice versa, for a guy to say to a girl, like if a girl is like, if they say that to a girl's gonna like that, and they're gonna be like, oh wow, like okay, that makes me more comfortable because he wants to do it so bad. So then they're gonna be a little more open to like allowing you to do that. So make the girl feel comfortable, okay? And when it comes to pleasing them, again, general, there are those little people, like situations where it's individualized a bit more. Stick to the clit.
Let's say it again.
Say it, Leanne.
Stick to the clit.
All right? And if you don't know where that is, you'll know real quick when they start making a bit more noise when you're in the right direction. And stay there.
I was going to say not always, and I think it's very important too to address not everyone's the same. So like I do get that there are people that are shy in bed.
There's a learning curve.
And even for girls who are kind of nervous or don't know how to approach the conversation, there are steps that you can take leading up to it, and guys too, that can kind of be that in the middle step before having to have the conversation, where it's like in your head, if they're, I know during sex in general, it's kind of gets to the point where it becomes a pattern. Like I give him head, he eats me out, we have sex, we change this position, that position, done. And it happens over and over again because you guys know that you both enjoy that. And if that at some time becomes a pattern or boring, switch it up yourself.
Yeah, say something like, hey.
Yeah, like either say something, you make the move. If you're a guy, you make the move, and break that. I think it's very important to not get
break
the pattern.
And break a pattern.
Yeah.
Different places too.
Yeah.
You can always add that in. But yeah, I think also just like as a guy, if you can tell like a girl isn't comfortable, you're not really sure yet what they like specifically exactly. If you're not there yet, it's still kind of the beginning of the like a new relationship situation, whatever, hookup, buddy, or relationship, whatever. You can look at them and just be like, if you're having sex too, harder, or before you guys are having sex, because if during sex that might be a little weird to or it might break the mood. Just be like, hey, if you want me to go harder, if you want me to go slower at any time, if pull my head up, pull my head down, let me know. Let them know that you're okay and comfortable with that. Yeah, if you ask questions, man, always ask the other person, what can I do better? What do you want? What do you like? Right. And in return, ask the same questions to the other person, especially if they're asking. That's opening up conversation. That's saying, hey, I'm okay with asking you, and I want to learn better to please you so we can make this better. Ask me as well. Let's make this something that is something that we're learning about each other, and something that we can make really good if we're both willing to take the criticism to make it a better experience. And for girls, it really, really is more about or I think it should be for guys too, but I think it is a little less, but the experience, it should be.
Well, I think it's
not
important.
Just oh, come done.
Right. And I think it's very important to note that girls, for the most part, and they can come during sex, but it is about foreplay, or it is about how you use your hands in the right way during sex. So that aspect of it is very important, because I think a lot of times too, and it depends if you're just having a hookup or a one night stand, or that's your choice whether you want to speak up or not. But if it's someone that you're consistently having sex with, that you want to improve and you want to stay on that same path with, to say listen, we can't just have sex. I can't just have sex and be done. It needs to be.
Yeah, let's get another thing straight. This is a fact. This is a rule. Girls need to come every single time, okay? Maybe there's that one time out of 600 or 100, if I'm being a little less dramatic about it. Maybe there's that one time where you're okay, I'm not gonna get there. I'm really tired, or I don't even feel like getting there at this point, because it's whatever.
It's not that hard, you guys.
Okay? They need to come every single time, okay? Do not finish don't leave that room until that girl comes. It's just rude. It's fucking rude, man. Okay, let's just paint this picture real quick, okay?
Let's go.
All right.
Let's get in there.
Hair flip, okay? If you're a guy, okay, and you're having sex with a girl, or a girl's giving you head, and then they decide to stop, okay, let's say you ate them out, they came, and then they decide to stop. Mm-hmm. And that's it. Mm-hmm. Nothing. How would you feel? You would be pissed, right? You would get blue balls, okay?
It's the same thing. It's the same thing.
We just don't bitch about it like guys do and be like, oh my God, what the fuck, I have blue balls. We get blue vagina, whatever.
So it's worse.
Yeah.
You leave a girl not satisfied time after time after time. It's that buildup of the same thing you feel. It's happening. It's happening. It's happening. It's not.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
It's not dead.
It's not. It's just as not fun for us as it is for you. We just maybe don't voice it as much, which on our end could be a problem, but we're trying to also be a little polite and let you guys be men and be the ones who take action.
Well, I think we're so aware of the fact that it could be directly tied to your ego, because I think guys identify with I'm good in bed. I'm the man. From the second that they start having sex and they lose their virginity, they gloat about the experience. They talk about the experience. It's a very much so like, I'm the man, I'm alpha, I'm head of the wolf pack. So given that, I think that does tie into why girls don't speak up as much or try and play around the fact
that they're not finishing and they're not
that
satisfied.
they have needs.
Yeah, they have needs too. Girls Need Love Too, my favorite song.
Hell
I
yeah.
swear, it's so good. Look it up. The Drake remix, so good. But yeah, man, like, ask your girl like if they're satisfied, honestly, and say no hit to the ego and mean it. Okay, ego aside, hurting my feelings aside. Do I satisfy you completely, 100% in bed? If they say no, ask them, what can I do to satisfy you more?
Well, and it's like, I also think that people get in their head that this is going to be embarrassing. And honestly, nothing should be embarrassing in the bedroom. You should be open to...
If you're having sex with someone, you need to be able to be okay with these conversations and being asked this.
And we all have a human body. We all have things that are gross and disgusting, and sex should have that level of like, you're out of body and you're experiencing these things and you're doing these things that taken out of the situation could come off as gross. But since you're there and you're having it, it's not. And asking the questions, it's not embarrassing to say like, hey, obviously guys have a different time that they finish. So there's like these segments of time where you're finishing fast, you're finishing forever long, and like both scenarios are okay.
But let the girl finish.
But you need to, and you need to figure out the needs of the other person, and you need to be like, hey, like,
how can I help
are you satisfied?
Yeah, or like, your turn. And if they're like, no, it's okay. No, your turn. It's your turn. Okay? And I think if we're going to talk about ego as well with a guy, drink up, girl. We're going to talk about the ego, I think it's honestly so much more satisfying to the ego to be able to please. Because if we're going back to that mindset, it's like, I'm able to please this person and get them to a point where they're out of control and feeling so good. I have that power and control over this person.
I think too, when you're starting a relationship, you place them within the first couple months. Everyone goes through that phase where it's like, okay, is this just a hookup? Is this someone who I want to spend a good amount of my time with and I like them and it's that next level? Or is this someone that I want to build a serious relationship with? And it comes to the point too where you need to acknowledge the fact that chemistry plays a huge part. Like for me, sex is such a big aspect.
Yeah, rude.
Yeah.
Our dishwasher was just making noise. Rude.
Sex is such a big aspect of someone who I decide to put in that box of relationship, where it's like, it's not personal in a sense. It's like, do you have that chemistry with that person? And that plays into like all of the non-sexual acts that are now made sexual because you have that in play.
Yeah, let's say even at the beginning, another scenario, let's say you just think it's a hookup and then it switches, or like something where you're not really thinking at the beginning about what it's going to be. It's like, make sure the sex is there and the intimacy is there so that if that does switch, you don't ruin your chances either.
Well, you know what else can happen?
What?
You can be in a relationship, not speaking from personal experience or anything.
Cough, cough, wink, wink.
You can be in a relationship where the sex is very good, leave that relationship, have sex and chemistry with someone that does not compare, and it can trick your mind into thinking that the sex with your ex was the relationship, when in fact it was not the relationship. It was only the sex that was good, but it has that much hold and that much pull on you where you go back.
Wow, so basically I went
back to my ex once back in the day.
I think the conclusion here is that don't have sex until marriage so that you don't know any of this. So whoever your husband is, that's all you know and you're good to go. Don't have sex until marriage, right? That's what I'm doing. So we're good.
I'm a virgin.
Yeah, man. Right, Mom?
Yeah, man.
My mom's listening to this. So
Dad, don't listen.
So in a situation that I was in, the intimacy and the sex, that part was such a big part, and it wasn't an issue, but it felt like, you know, the relationship kind of was a little bit more based around that. In that relationship or in that situation, I didn't feel like it was that important to me because it was so prominent. Mm-hmm. But then once I was in a different situation, I kind of realized, and it wasn't as good as I had experienced, or, you know, we hadn't learned as much about each other, we haven't given it as much time and all of that. Mm-hmm. I kind of realized like, oh wait, you know, this is actually really important. So there is that balance as well of like it not being all about sex, but you need it to be good and have that balance of like, this is important, but like everything else is also just as important. Mm-hmm. They all need to be just constantly worked on. You need to be trying your best with every aspect. Sex, communication, mm-hmm. just everything needs to constantly be worked on. And that's why people say like relationships do take work, because those are the things you should be working on
and I think
working towards.
At least in terms of how our brain works in the female mind, our definition of sex and what intimacy is such a broad scale, where it's like, I've been told too, an aspect of sex should be brought into every day. That doesn't mean you need to be having sex every day, but for us, that may have been lacking, where it's like, okay, it's just sex. But in our minds, it's the intimacy needs to be there. Is he doing acts of love and service, and do I feel appreciated in other aspects?
Like that's all has to do with the sex category of a relationship. Like, mm-hmm, wow, totally. You look beautiful, or looking you up and down, checking you out, it all matters. Those kinds of things that should be happening every day. Acts of intimacy, mm-hmm. or like looking at the person and like looking with love, or just like those kinds of things should always be active, mm-hmm. in a relationship.
Because we know guys' minds go to sex. So it's like
and that's okay. That's okay. Guys want that. We want that too. But again, we don't want to feel like that's all you want. So mm-hmm. that also goes into like what girls want in the bedroom is like, yes, we want the intimacy and we want the sex to be good and to what, you know, we want, what we think is good.
Right.
But we also want that if it's in the direction of, you know, relationship, we want the love to be in it too. We don't always want to be just having sex, quote unquote. We want to be having and making love sometimes as well. If it is a partner, if it's a different situation, put that aside.
Well, and that's the same thing along the lines as like, we also like change. So mm-hmm. guys like change, girls like change. And it's like, whether we're making love one night, we're having sex the next night, we're being aggressive, we're being loving, it's all changing it up. And I think that's very important.
Yeah, make the girl feel like she's wanted. Make the girl feel like she's the only, like you drive her crazy, mm-hmm. in a good way. Like, mm-hmm. you make her feel like, yeah, in a good way. Make her feel like she's on your mind constantly, and that she just like is the most amazing, beautiful thing that you've seen. And watch your sex life grow. I feel like we're just strictly talking to guys, but if you're a girl listening to this, send this to your guy or future guy, because it is useful. And going back again, something that girls want. This is kind of off topic, but very on topic. We're going to just go straight into it. But in the bedroom, when a girl is telling you she's about to come, okay?
Oh, yeah, I know what you're going to say.
Yeah, you know what I'm going to say. When a girl is telling you that she's about to come, guys sometimes they get a little excited, like, oh, she's about to come, like,
and they change it.
Don't do that. The reason I'm stepping a little further away from the mic because I got a little excited myself, but the reason they're saying I'm about to come is because whatever you were doing leading up to her saying that
is working.
Yeah, it's exactly what she wants you to do. Do not change it. Don't get excited. Don't do anything different.
Yeah.
If she says I'm about to
Very
come,
important. If you don't take anything away from this and you take that, we're good.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah.
But keep it the same. Do exactly what, not even anything tiniest different. Do exactly
And if you're the girl, say, hey, maybe not hey because you're in bed, but I'm about to come, keep going. Or say what you need. So if it's that lead up, say like, go faster. Say, speak your mind.
Yeah, let them know what you want when that moment that you say, I'm about to come, let them know exactly what you want during that moment. Because it's been like situations where you say that, or I've said that before, and it's switched, and it's like, okay, well, I'm saying like, no, like go back, but then it's like kind of too late. And you have to kind of start over again.
You lose it very fast.
Yeah.
You lose it very fast, and a lot of times those thoughts are running through your mind, and because you're so lost or so involved in the moment, if you are a girl that's more quiet in bed, you don't even realize you're not saying that out loud, and it's like, you need to lock in for a second and be like, say these words, say don't stop, say keep going exactly how it is, say this feels good, say I'm about to come.
Or like right there.
Use those words.
Yeah.
Because they can't read your mind. They can only, and I think for the most part, guys do a very good job at reading your body language, which is what sex is all about. But they're also not in your mind, and they're also not a girl.
Yeah, and if you are like, if you're not there yet with using your words, like if you're really uncomfortable and really shy, like use noises. Like guys know what that means. If you're moaning or breathing heavier, they'll get the hint, hopefully. Like that's pretty basic. Like I don't think that's something that any guy isn't going to get. Hopefully. Hey guys, if you are that guy, if a girl is breathing harder, if her breath changes, like
I mean, there are some things
like if it's sorry for that detail, but like listen, be in tune. But again, if you're not, like, it's not a big deal. We know that this is something that a lot of girls go through, and all we're trying to do is just like have that conversation, and we're just coming off as like we're your friends. We're trying to talk about this. We're trying to figure out a way to like help guys and like in the best way possible.
Sex is something also that people are afraid to talk about, and it's something that we enjoy talking about, and it should be talked about more. And because there are so many questions, because people don't talk enough in the bedroom, ask the questions, DM us.
We want to help just open the conversation, like we say. We want to help you guys possibly leave this podcast better than before. We're always here. So I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. If you liked it, go ahead and share it with people. Give it a rating. Let us know what you think, whether it's on the rating or DMing us. We would love to hear from you guys, and we seriously really appreciate you guys listening. This was really fun for us to record, and I hope it was just as fun for you guys to listen to.
I do too. If all else fails, get them drunk.
Yeah, stick to the clit. All right, thank you guys so much for listening, and we're gonna see you in the next, or we'll be around for the next episode.
We'll be here.
Tune in. Let us know how you like it. Have a great rest of your day. Boom. Boom! For the video portion on YouTube. Yeah, just so you guys know, little extra thing, sorry, real quick. This is also on YouTube. If you guys want to see like how we're talking, even though we're just kind of like sitting here talking.
Still fun.
Yeah.
Still see us.
If you want to like, if you're more of a visual person, we're on YouTube as well. Like it's the same thing, just us sitting talking like what it is. But if you want to listen in the car, like that's fine as well.
Preference, baby.
All right, for real. Don't tempt me.
Do not tempt me.
Later. Yeah.